Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora PC requirements. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora has no PC requirements as of yet, but by looking at one of Ubisoft's biggest modern games, we can get a rough idea of what the requirements could be. Assassin's Creed, Valhalla is Ubisoft's most visually stunning game yet, and its minimum requirements on low are Windows 10, Intel i5-4460 or AMD Ryzen 3 1200 CPU, Nvidia GTX 960 or AMD Radeon R9 380 GPU, 8GB RAM and 50GB of hard drive space. Its recommended requirements for 30 frames per second on high are Windows 10, Intel i7-4790 or AMD Ryzen 5 1600 CPU, Nvidia GTX 1060 or AMD Radeon RX 570 GPU, 8GB RAM and 50GB of SSD space. And its recommended requirements for 60 frames per second on high are Intel i7-6700 or AMD Ryzen 7 1700, Nvidia GTX 1080 or AMD Vega 64, 8GB of RAM and 50GB of SSD space. As Frontiers of Pandora will be launching on next-gen consoles, it's probably safe to assume that its requirements will be even higher than this. If your PC can't handle Valhalla, it probably can't handle this Avatar game. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora release date and game details. Release date, TBC 2022, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Microsoft Windows, Stadia, Luna. System requirements, medium-high. Genre, first-person action-adventure/open world. Developer, Massive Entertainment, Ubisoft Düsseldorf, Ubisoft Shanghai. Publisher, Ubisoft. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora has been in the pipeline for some time, but we were finally given a glimpse of the game at E3 2021. Players will take control of one of the blue native species from the film called the Nausicaa and traverse what is being described as an open, living and reactive world whilst fighting off the exploitative human RDA corporation whose goals threaten the planet. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora system requirements. As discussed, the minimum and recommended system requirements listed below are the best current estimates and will be subject to change. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora minimum system requirements. CPU, AMD FX 8350/Core i5 6600K. RAM, 8GB RAM. GPU/video card, GeForce GTX 1050Ti/AMD Radeon RX 570. Storage, TBC. Operating system, Windows 10 or later, 64-bit or later. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora recommended system requirements. CPU, Intel Core i7-5820K/AMD Ryzen 5 2600. RAM, 16GB RAM. GPU/video card, GeForce RTX 3070/Radeon RX 6800. Storage, TBC. Operating system, Windows 10 or later, 64-bit. What gaming PC do we recommend to play Avatar Frontiers of Pandora? You will likely be able to run Avatar Frontiers of Pandora on $600 self-builds. A $1,500 build is the sort of power you need to be looking at to play the game on the higher graphical settings at 1080p, and you'll probably need a $2,000 build to take things to 1440p or above resolutions at the higher settings. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora story. There's not much known about Avatar Frontier of Pandora's narrative. When the game was originally announced, no footage or information regarding a theme or tone was revealed. Fans began to theorize that the game and Avatar 2 film would correlate, with some sort of story connection bridging the two. It's still possible that both will share a promotion run, or be released at around the same time. However, Ubisoft's website claims that the game will take players throughout the Western frontier, which is a never-before-seen part of Pandora. This website also claims that it will be a living and reactive world inhabited by unique creatures and new characters. It also refers to the game as a standalone story, which probably means it won't be tied to the second film in a significant way. It's even possible that players will be able to create their own character, as our character is simply referred to as a Gnosix rather than given a specific name. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora setting. James Cameron's Avatar series takes place on Pandora, a lush moon orbiting the gas giant Polyphemus. In Ubisoft's Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, players will explore the western frontier. This is a side of the moon that has not been shown before, which means massive entertainment won't be tied down by iconic locations from the film. The developers will still be able to utilize the wildlife and foliage of Pandora to craft something memorable, but hopefully it won't get too fanservicey with its references and callbacks. As far as what to expect while exploring the moon, there could be RDA bases lined across each area in a region, and the player will have to infiltrate them to free the sector from the military's influence. I'd kind of be the opposite of Far Cry, where players might even explore environments to protect wildlife from hunters. When building this world, massive entertainment needs to make sure players aren't stuck exploring jungles over and over. Pandora needs to be diversified with unique biomes and bizarre weather patterns to make this environment feel as stunning as it does in the film.